This is K1DBC. All stations please stand by. The DRC Learning Net will start in 5 minutes.
W0TX repeater.
This is K1DBC. The DRC Learning Net will start in 1 minute. All stations please stand by while the repeaters are placed into net mode.
PL off.
I've always wanted a ham radio set, and now that I've got one, I'm going to listen in on distress signals and notify the authorities and prevent disasters and noble things like that. Calling CQ, calling CQ. Come in, please.
Hello and welcome. This is Kilo 1 Delta Bravo Charlie. My name is Daron. That's Delta Oscar, Romeo Oscar, November. I am net control for the Denver Radio Club Learning Net tonight. This is a directed net for the purpose of connecting amateurs seeking help or a device with Elmers willing to mentor. This net meets every Wednesday except the third Wednesday of the month at 1930 hours on W0TX repeaters with frequencies 145.490 linked with 448.625. Both have a negative offset and tone of 100. This net can be broken at any time for emergency or priority traffic by using the word break. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? For recognition by net control, please use your call sign. Everyone is welcome. This is an on-air meeting for amateurs seeking help and Elmers giving their time to mentor. If you have any questions for the Learning Net and don't yet have your license or otherwise wish to contact the Learning Net, you may do so via email at drclearningnetgmail.com. You can also visit our public mailing list over on groups.io/g/ham learning net or over on our youtube.com/WEREGR8, or you can search on YouTube for W0TX DRC, and you should be able to find a live stream of this net this evening, as well as previous nets and previous meetings. This is K1DBC Net Control. We will begin by inviting Elmers only to check in with or without traffic. All Elmers, please check in now.
Alpha 0 Juliet Kilo, AA 0 JK Fred Nevada with traffic. Good evening.
All right, Net Control wishes to thank and acknowledge the following Elmers. AA0JK Fred with traffic. Thank you for checking in as an Elmer. Not sure if it was meant to be an Elmer check-in, but we also did get a check-in on the web from Kevin, K0KPS. So feel free to check in on there as well if you'd like. All right, all other check-ins to the net will be taken in alphabetical groups based on the first letter of the suffix of the operator's call sign. That will be the letter after the number in your call sign. If you can, please try to use I2 phonetics as you check in and indicate if you have traffic or question for our Elmers as you do. If your suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, please check in now.
November 0, Echo Yankee Zulu, Jim and Littleton.
Kilo Foxtrot 0 Alpha Foxtrot Quebec, Troy in Denver.
Kilo 0 Bravo Alpha Tango, Art Aurora, no traffic.
Kilo Foxtrot 0 Bravo Alpha Kilo David Lakewood, no traffic, and I have a question.
Kilo 6, Hotel Juliet Victor, K6HJB, Tom Arvada, no traffic.
Kilo 0, Lima Alpha India, K0 LAI, Larry in Lakewood.
Foxtrot Charlie, Sherry in Lone Tree, no traffic.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins. N0EYZ Jim, KF0AFQ Troy, K0BAT Art, and then on the web we had KE0SUM Jonathan, and then back on the air we had KF0BAK David with a question, K6HJV Tom, K0LAI Larry, and W0FFC Jerry. Thank you all for checking in. Okay, we'll take one more call. Alpha through Mike. If your suffix begins with the letters A through M and you'd like to check in to the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net, please do so with your call sign, your name, and state if you have any traffic or questions for the net. Please call now.
Whiskey 0, Mike Delta Kilo, Matt, Denver, no traffic.
W0TX Repeater.
Whiskey Delta 6, Delta Oscar Kilo, Rich in Arvada, no traffic.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Alpha Whiskey Charlie, Ryan Weeridge, question.
All right, this is Net Control. That time we had W0MDK Matt, WD6DOK Rich, and KF0AWC Brian with a question. Thank you all for checking in. We'll go ahead and take the whole alphabet. If you'd like to check into the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net, we're taking all calls, A through Z. Check in with your call sign, your name, and let us know if you have any traffic or questions. Please call now.
Kilo Echo 0, November Romeo Echo, Jim in Littleton, no traffic.
November 0, Tango Romeo Papa, Jim in Lakewood. Good evening.
W0CIV, Charleston, Denver.
All right, this is K1DBC Control, Net Control. I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins. KE0NRE, Jim, N0TRP, Jim, and WD0CIV, Charles. Thank you all for checking in. One more time, we're taking all calls, Alpha through Zulu, A through Z, and you'd like to check into the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net. Do so with your call sign, your name, and let us know if you have any traffic or questions. Please call now. Sorry, I think the double audio was doubling there for a bit. It should be fixed now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. One more time, we're taking all calls. This will be the last opportunity. Just at the moment, there'll be quite a few more opportunities throughout the net, but one more call. Anyone who'd like to check into the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net, please do so with your call sign, your name, and please check in now. All right, perfect. Again, K1DBC Net Control. Plenty of opportunities throughout the net to check in. I'll call upon people to check in, but quite a few check-ins here. Thank you all for checking in, and quite a bit of traffic here, it looks like. So we'll start off with Fred, AA0JK. Fred, the net is yours.
Alpha 0, Juliet Kilo. Good evening, everyone. And just some notes here. It looks like the Hamvention has been canceled, and I haven't heard anything about any local Hamfests. Normally we would be looking at an Adams County Hamfest about this time of the first of the year, and haven't heard anything on that. So if anybody has any information in regard to whether that's officially on or off, we would like to know. And let's see, we got a VE session Saturday the 16th. Tom, KC2CAG, will be holding it at 3001 Brighton Boulevard. That's on a Saturday. If anybody is interested in that, they might give Tom a call, 720-284-1911, or you can email him at kc2cag@arrl.net. So I'll turn it back to you, Daron. AA0JK.
All right, sounds good there, Larry. Or Fred, sorry, AA0JK. This is K1DBC Net Control. Yeah, sad news there about the Hamvention, Xenia Hamvention closing down this year. But that's I kind of think we all knew that was going to happen, and yeah, we'll see how it works out for 2022. And then, yeah, as you mentioned, this coming Saturday, 9 a.m., there is a VE session. So there's probably a couple more slots available, a max of 15, it looks like. If you go to W0TX.org, and on the top there, you click here or tap, there's an option for license exams, and then you can find more info on Tom's information and how to get signed up there. So thank you there for the information there, Fred. All right. Anyone have any other questions in regards to Hamfests upcoming or not upcoming, or any upcoming VE sessions or testing or anything that we just discussed? Please call now. All right, kind of just as an aside on that, we are trying to migrate over to hamstudy.org, just like some other teams are using. Very soon in the future, you should be able to go over to... It is actually set up now, but we can't actually schedule anything on it, but you can go over to hamstudy.org/session/W0TX. We're not using it right now, so don't use that, but... we're trying to migrate over to it. Their process is a little cumbersome, so just trying to get people converted over to it. Our VEs converted over to it might take some time. So hopefully in the future we might be able to at least use some electronic testing in person. You could provide a laptop or a tablet maybe in the future, or possibly in the future we might be able to do some remote testing. So yeah, just as an aside, that might be something that is something this club is looking into, and hopefully we should have some inroads this year on that. Okay. We'll go over to KF0BAK David with a question. The net is yours. Go ahead, David.
KF0BAK, thank you very much. Hopefully this is a simple question and it doesn't dive into too many opinions, but I have a FT3 Yaesu radio that I'm looking to get into more digital work, and I'm just trying to see some benefits, pros and cons of different ways to attach it and get onto the computer. They sell a cord that you can use. Of course, you're tethered to the computer, or you can get the USB plugins that the radio connects to remotely. And I wasn't sure if anybody had strong opinions on either one or another device on the net that could help me out. KF0BAK.
W0TX repeater.
All right, KF0BAK, this is K1DBC. I can really only talk in regards about what we've spoken about previously about the Yaesu and hooking up digitally. I really don't have hands-on experience. But yeah, as you're stating, there is an accessory cable to get you APRS and a TNC, a serial TNC capability, it looks like. So you can hook it up and do WinLink and packet radio, things like that. There's another one that was brought up recently, the MobLink D, Mobile Link D, excuse me. It's a Bluetooth TNC that you can hook up to your radio. So that's another good option as well. But anyone on the subject of the Yaesu FT3D or variants and hooking up to your PC and getting into digital radio, go ahead. All right, sorry, I don't have too much more on that there. So as far as the digital modes you're trying to get into, is it just the digital of the like the Yaesu, like the C4FM, or what type of digital modes are you trying to get into there? Or it looks like Wires X actually. Sorry.
Yes, it's Wires X. I was just trying to figure out a way to link on the computer. That way I'm not taking up a repeater. Just a way to get in, expand, reach out to some new folks. KF0BAK.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, actually, for that, then I could speak on that a little bit. There's like digital radio hotspots, and I think a lot of them support System Fusion configuration and/or Brandmeister, etc., how you have it set up. But one option is a Pi-Star. It's something you can, or not Pi-Star. That's the like the software, but you could buy a hotspot, a DMR hotspot for about $40 to $50, and you can actually connect. You should be able to connect your Yaesu to that using System Fusion, or I'm sorry, Wires X. Excuse me, Wires X. Let me research this one more time here. Yeah, Wires X, I believe, has some compatibility with these hotspots. So I would search for I would search for the terms are MMDVM, Mike, Dog Victor Mike, or just DMR hotspot. But something like this will be able to something. There's another one called the Open Spot is another popular one as well. But something like that will be able to get you onto Wires X without tying up a repeater.
Thank you. Yeah, I've seen those. I wasn't sure if those are more economical and a better choice for better coverage and better reception than having a cable, because the cable it's comparable, but then you're tethered to the computer. KF0BAK.
Yeah, great question. As far as if it would be able to do the exact same if they have the same feature sets, I'm not sure if you can do some of the things you might be able to do with that cable with the hotspot, but with the hotspot you'd be able to use Wires X, I think, in a traditional manner that you'd be able to expecting to be able to do. And yeah, it would take you and free up that tether from that computer. So yeah, that's probably a good viable option.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.
right, no problem. All right, anyone else on that topic of wires X and hotspots, digital hotspots, or wires X and wired connections for wires X communication on the Yaesus? Please call now. All right. Yep. Great question. Glad to see there's interest in that. We have all these different modes, and it's nice to be able to just use them and test them and see what they're like and different feature sets. So yeah, good on you. Very cool. All right. With that, we'll move over to Brian KF0AWC with a question. Go ahead, Brian. The net is yours.
Thank you. My question basically is, I just got my HF equipment all set up and working, and I've spent quite a bit of time on it, and I haven't been able to pick up anybody listening. So I was wondering if there's any kind of frequencies or beacon stations that I can tune to. I could see if my equipment is actually working too. If 0 AWZ.
Hey, 0JK.
All right, yeah, great question there. Yeah, there's plenty of bands, or there should be some activity. I know some digital stuff you should be able to tune into. But AA0JK, Fred, go ahead.
Yeah, what were you looking to do? Just single sideband, or just initially? It sounded like you just want to check out your gear, make sure that you're able to receive any activity. There are beacons out there. You can go into the internet, and there should be lists of some of the beacons that are available. And also, if you type in propagation, look up some of the pages on current propagation, and it will show you some of the activity that are going on in the different bands. And of course, naturally, this all depends upon band conditions. HF hasn't been all that great here, as we've been in the low end of the solar cycle, but we're starting to come up out of cycle 2024 into cycle 25, and band conditions should start improving. So you're probably timing it just about right. But that's a couple of areas there you can look at, and also, just kind of tune around the bands, and give out a call and see if anybody responds. But sounds like you're getting things all lined up there. Keep us posted. AA0 and JK back to net control.
But yeah, I didn't know if my antenna was working, or I've got it set up properly, or anything else. I was just hoping that I could hear something. I've heard very weak stations out there, but I couldn't pull any of them in enough to actually hear clarity on the voices. But so I didn't know if that was just it was too far out, or just my voice, and I was using single sideband on the upper sideband.
W0TX repeater.
Also, you might work the gray line. That's in the early morning, around sunrise, as we're going from night to daylight, and they call it the terminal line, terminal zone, and also in the evenings, late evenings to night activity. And that's when you're going to probably find the best conditions there for any distance stations. and activity until we get out of this low end of this solar cycle. But keep tuning around, and you're bound to zero in on some activity. Also, you might look at some of the groups, like the 1010 activity group, the 1010 club, that has regular schedules there on 10 meters, and tune in during their nets, and should give you a pretty good idea how the band conditions are there, or at least for 10 meters. But should give you some activity there, if not just local, but if band conditions are open, might get some activity further out. AA0JK, back to net control. Comment.
Yeah, go ahead with a comment.
Yeah, also you might take a look at the schedules, the net schedules on the W0TX page, and they've got some regular nets that come on daily, the high noon net being one that's on 40 meters, and some of those will give you some opportunities there to listen and get a feel for the radio. AA0JK.
Question, KE0SUM.
All right, thanks there, Fred, for the info. Yeah, Jonathan, KE0SUM, go ahead.
No, it's interesting. My question was what radio he was using, antenna, and definitely location. All those things make so much difference when you're playing HF in the city. KE0SUM, back to net.
Yeah, great question there, K0SUM. KF0AWC, any insight on make and model and location and antenna type, etc., of your HF equipment?
Yes, sir. I'm using a Icon 7300 radio. I've got a Hustler BT5 vertical antenna, and I'm located, probably half a mile from Applejack's liquor store. KF0AWC.
Like to respond, KE0SUM.
Yeah, KE0SUM, go ahead.
No, you've got a great radio, a great antenna, and I know your location. I live at Jewel and Wadsworth, but no, I'm surprised you're not getting better reception. It's just my thought. KE0SUM, back to net.
Comment.
All right, yeah, go ahead with the comment.
It is Z0UZ. I would suggest you look on like NetLogger. I think it's netlogger.com, and you can. It's a freeware program. You can see what nets are on. You can click on that net, and you can see who is on, where they are, and get in and see if you can talk to people. That's the best way. I use 14.332, the YLISSB net. It's on all the time during the day, and you click on that, monitor the net, and you can see who's on. It's a kind of open net, and that'll give you an indication of where your signal's getting out to. N0EYZ. That's just my comment.
All right, sounds good. UIZ, good information there. Netlogger.org. It looks like here. It looks like there's an application, but it looks like there's also just a listing on the website itself here too of active nets, and they have some HF as well. Yeah, on that as well. I thought we used to have a link on our W0TX, but there's an HF net. It's AC6V Alpha Charlie 6 Victor.com /nets. And you should be able to find HF net listings as well. They have a really good listing alphabetically as well as by UTC time. So that's another good resource to find nets throughout the week. Yeah, and as well as another program. If you go to websdr.org, you can basically bring up other people's radios and try to listen for your signal. So you can transmit on your radio and then on somebody else's radio throughout the world, kind of in many different locations. Bring it up and tune to the same frequency and see if you can hear things. So that's another good option to see if you're getting out there as well. So yeah, great comments and great questions there. So anyone else have any other follow-up on that? Please call now. One more thing on that, kind of just as a little bit of a side project, but as Fred mentioned, A0JK, following the gray line, cool project you can build with like a Raspberry Pi or things like that is a ham clock, is a geochron, so it shows you the gray line, a live gray line, and kind of a lot of more information as much as you want. So kind of another cool geochron. So this one is by ClearSkyInstitute.com. The project is called Ham Clock.
Comment?
Yeah, go ahead with the comment.
Yeah, on W0TX's main webpage, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you'll see a depiction of the current gray line.
Perfect. Yep, that's another good point there as well. W0TX on the bottom there, you can see a live depiction of that as well.
Excellent. Thank you for all the great comments. KF0AWC.
All right, perfect. All right, one more time. Anyone else on that subject? Otherwise, I will call for further check-ins. But anyone else on anything we've spoken about so far? Or all right, let's talk about the HF reception. Anyone else have any other comments on that? What we were just speaking about there? Please call now.
S.t.e.m, question.
W0TX repeater.
Yeah, K0SUM. Jonathan, go ahead.
Still kind of curious, knowing radio, antenna, and location, why you'd have HF reception. Mine is because I have an indoor antenna. When I go outdoors with the outdoor antenna, that works really well. But he should get out pretty well. I mean, he's fairly high ground. I don't know. I was still just curious about that. But I wondered if anybody had any thoughts. K0SUM, back to me.
Yeah, good point there. Kind of in the Wheat Ridge area, good location, good equipment there. It sounds like a good antenna, that Hustler and the ICOM. Yeah, that'd be interesting to find out. I don't know. I just know. I mean, I have a U5VR, UV5R, and strung up about 40-50 feet. So that's what I have set up. But this is a little bit of a different antenna here. So yeah, I'm not too sure. Has it yeah, I mean, has it ever worked, Brian? Or if you want to follow up any more on that, go ahead.
Well, like I said, I just got the equipment and just set it up, and so just trying it out. So that I just got my general there the middle of December. So I'm just now experimenting with all this stuff, getting everything set up, doing everything. So it's kind of new. So I'm just learning everything and working on it, and so I'm just trying to get some resources to further investigate.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, HF reception shouldn't be too terribly difficult. I know transmission is always difficult to transmit halfway around the world, but reception seems to be surprisingly a lot easier. So you should at least be able to hear some nets, some HF activity. Yeah, you kind of just have to scroll around, and it's just there's not much activity sometimes too. I mean, field day will roll around, and then there'll be millions of people on the air. And that's another good thing is just the weekly. I know on our Sunday night net, Jim mentions K0TR mentions the rolling the calendar on the ARL contests. So that's another good way to check, because those contests usually bring people out too. So that'll be another good thing to check into.
CIV comment?
Yeah, W0CIV, go ahead.
Yeah, I actually operated on a net for, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours, and I was wondering why the signals weren't very good. I looked down at the radio, and I had the attenuator button pushed, so once I released that, then everybody was perfectly fine and readable. And Fred, I know that the gray line is important, so it's gray lines matter.
Evening, Charles.
Yeah, you're doing great. Anyway, this is W0CIV, back to net control.
All right, sounds good there, CIV. Yeah, and hopefully it's might be just something simple. You know, sometimes with new radios, you kind of just have to go through some trials to get things set up. So yeah, definitely just you know, let us know. So very, very cool. With that, I'll actually just take a moment to take any other further check-ins. If you've just tuned in, this is Daron. My call sign is Kilo 1 Delta Bravo Charlie. I am Net Control for the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net. It's an on-air meeting for amateurs seeking help and Elmers giving their time to help us. Everyone is welcome to join in. If there's anyone who wishes to check in at this time, please do so with your call sign using I2 phonetics, your name, and state if you have traffic or questions for the net. Please call now.
This is Kilo Echo 0, Whiskey Mike Oscar, Jacob, mobile from Golden, no traffic or questions.
All right, Net Control acknowledges and welcomes the following check-ins. KE0, WMO, Jacob, thank you for checking in. One more time, we are also on YouTube, youtube.com/WERE GR8, or you can search for W0TX. You can check in online there as well if you do not have a ham radio license. But if you wish to check in on the air, please do so with your call sign, your name, and if you can, try to use I2 phonetics, and let us know if you have any traffic or questions. Please call now.
Comment.
go ahead.
AA0JK. Yeah, for setting up your first station, you might find the ARRL's book on your first amateur radio HF station. Your first amateur radio HF station. It's a book offered by the ARRL. Have a lot of good, useful tips in there. So ARRL has a lot of great publications there to kind of help you along. Also, the February issue is out of QST. Back to net control.
All right, sounds good there. AA0JK, yeah, ARL has plenty of information on setting up HF stations, and yeah, I'll try to bring up the latest edition here of QST. So yeah, very good information there. Thank you. All right, anyone else anyone else like to check into the net? Please call now.
N0EYZ with a comment.
Yeah, EYZ, go ahead.
Now, one thing that's extremely important and often overlooked is a good ground system. I found that out running a system in Italy on 220 back in the 60s. We ran from Heidelberg to Naples and a jump to Athens and one to Turkey. And on the 220 band, ground systems were very important. And here in Colorado, where we have very poor ground and we've had very little moisture, one thing we did was we had 8-foot ground rods driven into the ground about 6 inches below the ground, and then had a little pit, put rock salt in there every morning, and after our coffee break, we went out and watered the ground rods very well, and it makes a big difference. So that's another consideration to make your station work a lot better. N0EYZ.
All right, N0EYZ. Yeah, great point there. Grounding is super important in HF, and yeah, you will not be able to get very far without good grounding there. So, great information there. K0LAI had pointed out the NWS had put out a high wind warning for northeast Colorado Plains. It looks like more info on their Twitter, NWS Boulder. Peak wind gusts of 60 to 70 miles per hour developing across northeast plains by 9 p.m. So prepare for hazardous travel, blowing dust, possible wind damage, and brief power outages. Some front produced 82 miles per hour gust Douglas, Wyoming around 6:30. So you can find more info and a simulation of the high winds on their Twitter here. All right, anyone else have any other comments, questions, topics, anything else, check-ins for the net? I can bring a couple things. Otherwise, if anyone else has anything, please call now. All right, I really don't have too much else here. I had brought up a video a couple of weeks ago, and you may have seen it already by this point in time, is the Boston Dynamics robots had put on a pretty good performance of dancing. And over on the IEEE.org website, the the electronics consortium that it puts out a lot of publications and et cetera, et cetera. They kind of go into depth and spoke to them about how they did that. So it was a really cool dance and a really cool operation they did it here. So yeah, I would go over on their YouTube, and it looks fake. It really does look fake, but it is really cool. And they kind of go into depth about how they did this. And so yeah, more info on spectrum.ieee.org on Boston Dynamics. We had also recently spoken about the Starlink satellite dish reception and or the transceiver. Somebody had done a partial teardown of it back in November, and they've come back and done an X-ray of it. So they go into more depth about this. Let me see here. Carefully sized injection molded spacer sheet that keeps the upper array a specific distance from the RF4-like radome to the almost microscopic holes that have been bored through each floating patch to maintain equalized air pressure. There's a really cool write-up on this over on hackaday.com. Hackaday.com, titled "Starlink Satellite Dish X-rayed to Unlock RF Magic Inside." And again, this is the Elon Musk-backed Starlink satellite internet project, and you can see these satellite constellations over the Denver metro area, and you'll see a bunch of them. I think we've spoken about them so far. And yeah, so you can get internet access is what they're selling for about $500 upfront cost for the equipment, and then I think $100 a month. And I think it's around 100 megabits or so. But it's providing internet access to rural spots where normal wired and wireline or wireless can't come in.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead with the question.
Drone, I was listening in this interesting subject. So you're saying over the Denver area, I'll be able to see Elon Musk's satellites? K0SUM, back to net.
Yeah, absolutely. If you go over onto the Denver Reddit, reddit.com/r/Denver, and then you do a search for Starlink, some people have actually taken some photography of these. Let me bring this one up here. I don't know if this is going to be very good looking. Oh yeah, so you can see very faint there, and I know that there's some other media I can try to bring up here as well. Yeah, I can't find the any other media at the moment, but I'm sure there's probably a schedule. I mean, I know we've talked about Heavens Above, and there's probably others. But yeah, there are people in Denver that see these. They have no idea what they are. They report them as UFOs and et cetera, et cetera. But these are Starlink satellites. People started reporting them around 10 months ago, it looks like. So yeah, this is not an uncommon occurrence. People within the last 12 months and few months really are still reporting these things, and I'm sure they have to report where they're at. So I'm sure you can find information on Passovers and see them go over. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff.
Comment.
Yeah, go ahead with the comment.
KF0AFQ. I used findstarlink.com very successfully to see Starlink pass directly overhead in Denver right around Christmas sometime, and it was mind-blowing. I highly recommend it. I could not believe my eyes. Totally amazing.
Excellent. Great plug there. findstarlink.com is an answer to that question we had there, Jonathan. Yeah, findstarlink.com. You put in, it looks like it defaulted for me to Denver, probably just because it knows my location. Find visible times, and then it has very strict schedule here about how you can see that. So very, very cool. Thank you for that.
W0TX repeater.
All right, one more thing, or we had another comment here in the YouTube chat. KZR KPS, Kevin had mentioned the ARRL. We've mentioned them in the past. There are this specific program here, the ARRL Learning Network, and so they are doing online webinars, and you can find more info on them, arrl.org/ARRL-learning-network. Upcoming tomorrow, Thursday, January 14th, presented by Anthony L., call sign Kilo 8 Zulu Tango, amateur radio logging. So discover the advantages of keeping an electronic amateur radio log. Find out why you may need more than one software, digital, analog mode, special events, etc. And he goes more info on that. So yeah, thank you for that, KPS. Yeah, more info, arrl.org, or you could just search for ARL Learning Network. Okay, what else here? I did get in. I had spoken a couple of weeks ago about an FPGA board, and FPGA, it stands for Field Programmable Gate Array, and it's you can think of it kind of like an Arduino, kind of it's just more powerful development board, and it kind of just lets you do a lot more. It's kind of like software-defined electronics, really. It kind of lets you do all types of hardware electronics that you would be able to do, that you would need to do, like you need hardware for, but within software. So this was not off the shelf. This was kind of a secondhand. It came out of a crypto miner machine. So I got it off AliExpress for about $20. So now I'm in the process of finding out how to. I've already gotten it powered up with 5 volts. I just need to get console access or somehow network access to this. So I'm going to be trying to put up some more info on my trials with this. But yeah, if you ever want to get into this, this was the Xilinx. Let me bring it up here. Excuse me, Xilinx ZynQ, ZYNQ, and you can find more info on the on AliExpress. There's plenty of retailers selling it, very, very cheap. It takes a couple of weeks to get in, but it's a lot of fun, a lot more just stuff to play around with. So more info on that, and I'll be bringing it up on our groups.io. Okay, I really don't have much else. Just kind of looking at the latest QST from February here. I don't know if I've even read the January run, but Topics from February QST include, as always, the second century, which is the kind of the president's message, and then let's see what else here. Creating your own one-to-one coax, Balun, using 160 meter vertical on 80 meters, identifying common feed line miscreants, product review of an ICOM IC705. Let's see, high-speed Go kit for mesh networking. So mesh networking sounds pretty cool there. Activating historically rich Egypt. So that might be pretty neat. I know that a lot of the kind of early things I've heard about is some of the El Sheiks and some of the princes being on ham radio, being pretty active, and I haven't really delved into that, but that was always kind of neat to hear about. So yeah, more info on that. Ham kits, and then yeah, just all the contests and things like that. So if you are an ARL subscriber, you can get the QST magazine online. So yeah, more info on arl.org for all that.
Comment?
Yeah, go ahead with the comment.
Yeah, in that issue, MFJ has got a page there of a lot of the equipment that they have for eliminating noise. Anyone who might have problems in their area with noise conditions. They've got some products there on the MFJ webpage on that issue that you might take into consideration if you've got some noise factors there you'd like to filter out. A0JK.
All right, sounds good there, Fred. Thank you.
K0SUM comment.
Yeah, K0SUM. Jonathan, go ahead.
I don't like to be negative about anything. I'm a glass half full guy, but no, BHI has been advertising noise canceling products, but I take issue with their DSPKR speaker. It's like $200, and I found it worked horribly, absolutely horribly. And that's just my product review. But they advertise heavily in, this one is on the Air magazine for the amateurs. And I'm pretty sure they probably do for QRZ also. K0SUM, back to net.
Gotcha. Yep, absolutely. Your mileage may vary on some of these, and you know, we have to we vote with our wallet and our voices nowadays. So yeah, make sure that people are aware of your experiences, and you know, put a review online, and just make sure that I know a lot of these manufacturers are usually pretty open and willing to at least just have an open dialogue about some of these things. So yeah, that's too bad to hear. Okay, this is K1DBC Net Control for the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning. I'm probably going to be wrapping things up here pretty soon, but I'll throw it out to the net. Does anyone have any comments, questions, late check-ins, anything else you'd like to bring up for the net? Please call on.
JK?
Yeah, A0JK. Fred, go ahead.
Yeah, in that February issue, it's page 107. 107, MFJ's got noise. And their noise canceling products there. So that's on page 107, AA0JK.
Okay, thanks there, Fred. Got that brought up here. I guess I have one little quick thing here. I don't know if we've spoken about too much on here, but we've spoken about soldering quite a bit. There is a concept of a reflow oven, which basically is you can, if you've soldered something by hand, or if you need to kind of resolder a whole bunch of things at once, there are professional industrial things that you can use, like a pick and place machine, to put all your parts down and then solder everything all at once. There is a concept of building a reflow oven out of a toaster oven. Has been a pretty popular thing for half a decade or so, a decade. Repurposing a reflow oven with an Arduino and things like that. And then more recently now we have a reflow waffle iron. So it's adds just a little bit more simplicity, and you can kind of see it here in action. They have some perf board, and you can kind of just put your parts on there, and you can use an Arduino to control the temperatures and whatnot. So yeah, if you've ever wanted to get into soldering batches and lots of things, reflow ovens are the way to do that if you're going to do small or high count kits or things like that. So this is just a funny thing. A reflow waffle is what it's called, put on by Vince. You can find more info on his website, DECONINC.info.
Does that come with butter and maple syrup?
It may, but it may also run it too, though. Yeah, good, very good. So yeah, if you're ever trolling any of the thrift stores or anything, you can find these a dime a dozen, either reflow or either a waffle iron or a toaster oven. But if you ever have the one, you can always convert one of these into a soldering machine. So there you go. Okay, that's all that I really have for the net this evening. I'll throw it out once more, though. Does anyone have any other comments, questions, check-ins, anything else for the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning that you'd like to bring up for this evening? Please call now. Okay, again, real quick, this is the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net, sponsored by the Denver Radio Club, W0TX. Excuse me. You can find more info on us, W0TX.org. As mentioned earlier in the net, there is actually a license exam testing coming up. So if you go over to our website, click our Tap Here link, and then click on License Exams, there's probably a couple of slots open, but find more info over there on our team lead, Tom Kachowski, and his phone number and his email address. That will be Saturday the 14th, or I'm sorry, Saturday the 16th, excuse me, at 9 a.m. So if you want to test, we probably have just a couple spots open. On that same drop-down menu, you can also find the Denver Net List, And yeah, plenty of other listings throughout the week, daily that occur, not just Denver Radio Club, all of these here. So yeah, more info if you want to get on the air, HF, VHF, UHF. You can find kind of what active nets and test your equipment out. Yeah, and so yeah, the next net that we have for our club is our Sunday night net, 8:30 p.m. Same frequency here. So yeah, if you'd like to check into that, feel free to do so as well. Once a month on the third Wednesday, we have a regularly scheduled meeting. These are all taking online now. Are taking place online. Our next one is taking place January 20th, so that will be actually next week. 7 p.m. Topic presentation is going to be a review of the ICOM 705 QRP rig by Robert K0RCW. So he's going to go into HF, VHF portable SDR, info on that. Talks about 10 watts using external DC or 5 watts, including the ICOM battery, and he'll just be going into the feature set of that. So more info on our site, W0TX.org. It's a meet.google link. Everyone is welcome to that. You do not need to be a ham radio operator to chat in there at all, and you don't need to be a ham radio operator at all to be there. At 6 p.m., we have an Elmers session, which is just like this, just a Q&A, show and tell. So feel free to drop in there as well, and we will see you there. All right. Again, every Wednesday, every Wednesday except the third Wednesday, we have this Learning Net here, and we always welcome you to give us any topics, suggestions, or if you want to be a net controller, feel free to just drop in and let us know. Send us an email, drclearningnet@gmail.com, and you can visit our groups.io, is groups.io/g/ham learning net. And it'll be you can see check-ins and past material topics. And we're also on youtube.com/WEREGR8, or you can search on YouTube for W0TX. Thank you all for being here. I guess I'll do one final call. Any other last check-ins for the net? Please call now. Okay, great participation this evening. Thank you all so much for being here. We had 18 check-ins. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for checking out the YouTube as well. More content will be put out there. Thank everyone who participated this evening, and we especially appreciate and thank our Elmers. Again, thanks to the Denver Radio Club for allowing us to use their repeaters for this. So again, next week is going to be our regularly scheduled meeting at 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. for the Learning Net, or I'm sorry, the Elmers session. Again, W0TX.org for more info on that. All right, all stations, please stand by while repeaters are placed into normal mode.
PL on.
All right, thanks everyone for taking your time to be here. Happy New Year's, and we will see you all next week for our meeting. 7-3 to all. K1WC, I am clear. All right, everyone, take care.